Hi everybody, this is Dr. Elsa. Welcome back to my channel. I just want to take a second with you and just reflect with you as we end this year and think about the new year with the lessons learned from this past year. I love how at this time, like, everybody's sort of thinking about all the great things that happened this past year and also like what you want to take into the new year and just hitting refresh and starting over. And no matter how cliche it can be, like it's just, I really appreciate that. Any opportunity to like hit the refresh button and start over, I love it. But I wanted to share something with you as well, just before the end of the year. A lot of articles that I wanted to share with you, a lot of videos that I wanted to record. You don't really get to everything that you want to do by the end of the year, but you want to sort of be able to build the momentum into the new year, and that's what I have been aiming to do, at least just to build that momentum. I do want to share just a passage of a book that I read. I shared this on social media earlier. This is a book called We've Got This, Unlocking the Beauty of Belonging by Ritu Bhasin. She also wrote The Authenticity Principle. Both books that I highly recommend if you're interested in the topic or interested in diversity, equity, and inclusion. I actually got into the topic of diversity, equity, and inclusion a little more closely after graduating from my PhD program and trying to sort of understand a lot of things. As I was reflecting and thinking about it and also coping with, a lot of things, I just sort of needed to understand that this is a really tough area for, so I really have a lot of respect for the DEI scholars and educators, coaches and consultants and whatnot that are working on this topic, especially in the workplace and academic institutions. So I was always obsessed with this notion of belonging, always, but I was happy to see like there's actually like an entire genre on it. So in this book in particular, I wanted to share a passage with you from this book. Ritu Bhasin, she is a sort of like an expert DEI consultant. She's Punjabi, Indian, Sikh, Canadian. So she talks a lot about like her experiences growing up in a white homogenous society, being bullied and also facing a lot of the intergenerational trauma, and speaks of how you can sort of cope with the past traumas of your life and find sort of like an avenue for healing and ultimately what we want is belonging, to be accepted for who we are in every space that we are. It's really I think it's such a necessary read for those people who really struggle with this notion. I know that I have struggled with it tremendously, and I really related to her story to a great deal. So she writes in sort of like a memoir style, but also offers like a lot of insights related to this topic. She divides the book into 3 different parts: hurting, healing, and belonging. And so I wanted to sort of share just a passage of within the last chapter of hurting, before she gets into healing, called Taking Off the Adult's Mask and Armor. This is a passage. I'm not the only one who's armed herself with a mask, armor, and stage in the pursuit of belonging. In fact, I'm picking up this as a phenomenon. I'm realizing that feeling wounded is normal, and so is talking about it. And the buzzing sensation that I've been feeling in my body for years now, that screams, I am experiencing injustice, is warranted. I deserve better and more. I know this to be true. I just didn't know how to make this happen until now. I just got goosebumps when I read that the first time. She goes on into the next page saying, I began to take more social science classes in college, where I dove into the research, theories, and frameworks on the why behind what happens to us in life. This is where I came to see there are systems in society that have been intentionally designed to hold us back and prevent us from belonging. That we're not the problem, nor are we broken. Instead, these deliberate structures are created in such a way to hate on us and make us hate on ourselves. One of so many powerful passages from this book, I believe, and I deeply sort of resonated with her story, and those words in particular just landed with me. Thinking about sort of the idea that we're often in these spaces when we have these challenges, we often are made to think that we are the problem, that there's something wrong with us, that it's all in our head. And I love that our last chapter is literally titled, "There's Nothing Wrong with You," and there never was. Her entire story and also just her experiences just felt so validating for me. There are times where we're in these spaces and we feel sort of this discomfort. We feel shame for this discomfort. We feel shame for making others uncomfortable for who we are and embracing our authenticity, courageously and unapologetically. The shame in particular, and it sort of affects our psychological safety. We feel like we're sort of flawed or unworthy, or we don't necessarily fit in. And I love that she makes that distinction between sort of fitting in and belonging, which is so important. Fitting in is about molding into the system. Belonging is more about the system molding for you, the system sort of accepting you. And that's what belonging basically is, accepting you for who you are authentically. I mean, it's such a simple concept, but it's more complex than that, especially if you have intersectional identities. If you have multiple intersecting identities, it makes it even more challenging. She talks about healing. It's non-linear, and it's a process. It's non-linear. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen in the new year. It's a marathon. I think at least 3 or 4 times throughout this book, Ritu called herself a warrior princess. I was just so happy she said that. As some of you know, I have a Warrior Queen blog that sort of chronicles my journey of mental health survival and intersectionality, talking about social justice issues and curing stigmas, mental health and suicide prevention, other issues related to identity, and it's the chronicles of the Warrior Queen, and like it just felt so validating for her to refer to herself as a princess. I also had a children's book that I've written that I haven't published, and maybe I'll consider doing it one day, but it's also the Warrior Princess. So if I do end up publishing that, I will be sure to reach out to her and let her know that she inspired me by validating our similar journeys and stories for processing our realities and traumas and in pursuit of belonging in this world. So it was just really beautiful, like that connection, connecting the dots like that. It's so important for us to remember that we're not the only one in this journey, in this pursuit of belonging, that there are people before us who have struggled, and that there are people after us, and that we just have to work towards trying to make it better for future generations. One of the most important things I feel is this understanding of knowing what you deserve, like that you're worthy and that you deserve better. That we have to instill in our minds that it's not just about being in a space that people could tolerate us. It's about us being able to authentically, courageously, and unapologetically be our whole selves in those spaces. That's what I hope to take with embracing a portfolio life. So as this year has sort of come to an end, like I just sort of want to honor like how far I've come. If you're on this similar journey, also like please honor your journey of how far you've come and your progress that you've made. It's just so important that we honor our journey and honor our stories, and just understand that they're valuable. Like our stories matter, and that we're not broken. We are totally worthy of deserving so much better for our lives, and deserving of being in those spaces where we're celebrated and we're appreciated and respected. We do deserve having that sense of belonging and that community and that sort of like love and support. We're deserving of that. And as we reflect now in going to 2025, I just like to propose that we promise ourselves that we're going to show up, courageously, authentically, and unapologetically as ourselves in our spaces, and support each other in this critical journey in this pursuit of belonging. Because considering the political climate, this journey of belonging, externally and internally, will continue to be extremely challenging, and we have to be able to recognize the importance of community and the importance of doing this together and surviving this, and also like realize that we can come to a point that we're not just surviving, we're going to thrive, and we deserve that. We absolutely deserve that without shame, fully embracing who we really are, who we truly are authentically. Thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate that. If this resonated with you, please leave a comment or send a message, or share this with someone who might need to hear the message. And let's just continue to be better at just being there for each other. I think that's really important and necessary at this time. Thank you so much for listening. This is Dr. Elsa. I look forward to continuing these conversations with you into the new year. Very much look forward to embracing revolutionary love and the inward revolution with you into the new year. Thank you so much for listening. Happy New Year. Take care. See you in 2025.